Hello, my name is Jamila McMallow, and I'm a mindset coach for women executives and entrepreneurs. And I want to talk to you today about the power of asking. In the video yesterday, I talked a little bit about feminine energy, masculine energy, whatever. Feminine energy is all about receiving, right? And a big part and a big reason why we as women do not receive what we desire is for one simple reason: we haven't asked. We have not asked for what we want. And I am a believer in God. And so I believe every good gift and every perfect present comes from Him. So He is who I pray to and who I ask for what it is that I need and for what it is that I want. And I believe and know that He hears me and He grants my requests in the best way that He sees fit. I believe that. But I also know that I have to ask. And this is so critically important because as women, so many of us in childhood, perhaps when it came to being giving toys or money or whatever, we were always told no. Or it was as if we received, someone else lost out. Or if we, were asking, we were being viewed as greedy, whatever. Or if there was a lot of talk about there not being enough money, there we were broke, whatever, we don't have it, then we learned not to ask at all. Sometimes some of the women I've spoken to had a single mother that they watched struggle to make money and raise her kids. And so they held back. They didn't ask because they didn't want to burden their mother. And then some watched their mothers essentially sacrifice themselves, be the martyr of the family, and she never asked for what she wanted, just kind of accepting whatever she was given. And so there is a power in asking because you have to ask in order to receive. This idea that you're going to sit back and things are just going to randomly flow to you with zero action doesn't happen. One of the best lines ever that it irritates me when I hear women say this. Well, if God wants to give me a husband, why would He want to give you a husband? Have you asked for one? Have you gotten specific on what you want? Why would He give you this or why would He give you that? He's not a genie granting wishes. It is your job to get clear on what you want. That's what free will is about. It is your job to get clear on what you want, specific, and then to ask in gratitude and believing that you will receive it, that He will respond. Okay? But see, we don't want to do that. We don't want to ask. We think, I'm going to use this example. If, let's say, someone asked you for a new pair of shoes and they need it, they're starting a new job, so they'll get a paycheck in 2 weeks, whatever. It doesn't matter because you're going to give it as a gift. But let's say they ask you to buy them a new pair of shoes and you're like, cool, no problem. And then they say, okay, well, let me know and you can drop them off at the front door once you go get them. You're going to ask me for a new pair of shoes, but listen, if you ask me to buy a new pair of shoes, I'll be waiting at the register to check out, or I will be online ready to just give you my card and type that at the end. But I'm not going to walk up and down the aisles for you and pick out the shoes in your size, try them on my foot, make some type of estimation. Well, maybe this might fit her, whatever. And I think she might like this, and then buy it. That's not how it works. But that's what we're saying when we say, well, if He wants to give it to me. So you're asking Him to do all the work. You're not going to exercise your free will. You're not going to use the intelligence and the brain that He gave you. You're just going to throw it off on Him like it's His job to cater to you and just, no. Now, if my friend asked me to buy them some shoes and they wanted me to walk with them to help them make a right decision, that's different. I want to get your opinion because I just want to make sure this is the right color or these look right on me, whatever. That's different. So if you're asking Him to guide you or for His help, that's different. You're asking Him to walk with you in making that decision. You're not simply going, oh, well, because see, people don't think about it like that, but that's what it is. It's a spirit of entitlement. Why would anybody ever do anything just for you just like that, willy-nilly? That's not how it works. People do express generosity to us in unexpected ways and make do things for us that we didn't ask for, but it's typically because they're aware that we have a need, or they're aware that we've got something going on, and so they want to show that to us. But we haven't said, well, if somebody wants to feed me some food, they'll bring it, and if not, that's fine, I'll keep cooking my own food. Anybody bringing you nothing. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's really what you're saying. So you have to understand that if you want something, if you want to receive, you have to ask. And many of us have so much childhood trauma and conditioning and messaging wrapped up around receiving, which, by the way, is feminine energy. So you're a woman and you don't know how to receive health in a healthy way. So that means you're struggling with your own femininity, your own womanhood. Okay. So you have to ask. And let me tell you, because I bring everything before my Heavenly Father and I ask. And I ask in gratitude because I trust Him and I have full faith and belief that He's going to respond. And when He does, I'm super grateful. But when I reach certain points, and I'll just use my business for an example because, this is what I mainly talk about. This is, I'm posting for my business, so I'm going to talk about my business. I don't separate my relationship with God from my business on my end, right? None of my programs are faith-based. I don't bring any sort of ideology into my program. If myself and a client share the same faith, we may speak about those things because we're on kind of that same page, but it's not something that is inherently within my program. I work with women of all different faiths, etc. But for me, right, who I am is a part of who I am. And so I want His guidance. I want His support. I want His help in me running my business. Why? Because I love Him. He loves me. He's the wisest person in the universe. And I trust Him and I need His guidance. Who else are going to ask? Who else am I going to ask? So I ask and I receive. And when you understand as a woman that your feminine energy has a power. Me and my business mentor, we had a kind of a side conversation about this, and we talked about our ways of being because I'm a very feminine woman, and so is she. And we just kind of talked about how we move through life and how, you'll have women who, you know, um, won't maybe they feel like, oh, I've got all these bags or I have all this stuff, and no man, offers to help or whatever. And when she and I were talking, I was like, I've never had a man not hold the door for me. I've never had a man not offer if he sees me struggling with something or carrying heavy bag. Can I do something? And it's not a sexual thing. It's not like, oh, let me get your number. No, it's just the feminine and the masculine energy, and they're just showing up as a manly man doing what they do. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna receive his help. Thank you for holding the door for me. I don't want to touch it. It may have some COVID on it. Okay, but even before COVID, I was like, yeah, doorknobs, whatever. But I will pause. See, I don't try to outman him and run up to the door and get there before him. I will slow down so he can get there first. And I allow him to be a man and to do the kindly, courteous, chivalrous thing, which has zero to do with his physical or sexual attraction to me, and simply because he's being that type of man. You'll be surprised at how men will show up for you in that positive, very healthy way when you simply allow them to. When you stop trying to outman a man, when you stop trying to be ultra uber independent and doing everything on your own, and then being mad and bitter because nobody's showing up for you, nobody's helping you, but you don't ask. And you give off the energy like you don't need. And you express things like, I don't need no man. I don't need this. And a man isn't going to, nothing is going to show up if you don't need it. If there's no room for it, it cannot come into your life. If you have not created space for it, it cannot come into your life. And it does not make you weak. needy, or desperate to desire and enjoy having a husband or relationship with a man that is supporting you in that masculine way. It ain't nothing wrong with that, honey. Well, see, that's where you got to twist it. And all of that stuff, like I said, the roots are in childhood. And so we always have to go there. That's the starting point. For any of my clients that come to work, that's the starting point. We've got to clear all that out. And then we get to do whatever she wants and create whatever it is that she wants to be true and possible for her in her business, in her relationships, in how she sees herself, her own self-esteem, confidence. Because when you're healed and whole, you show up differently. You make completely different decisions. Your energy changes. You move differently. I had a client, we moved a huge block around how she was feeling about working. And we get on our call and she tells me, yeah, I just walked in. It was a business that she was familiar with, that she's done business with. And she walked in and she went up to the owner and she said, yeah, I came in here today to tell you why you need to hire me. And I was like blown back, because that wasn't something that you would ever have expected her to do. But see, that's the power of when you do this work and you remove those barriers and those blocks. It's almost like you're like, well, I can do anything. Well, yes, you can now, because you're no longer being stopped by some belief that was never true in the first place. Okay. And so a lot of times we don't ask because we don't think we're going to receive. We don't think we're worthy of it. We don't know how. We think it makes us weak. We think it makes us vulnerable. And all of that is totally false. It's also why, as women, sometimes we can struggle in business, because we're not asking for the sale. We're not asking to have a conversation. We're not asking to build a rapport and start a relationship to determine if you're able to really help someone with your service or your product or your coaching, whatever it is that you do. You're not asking. And so as a woman, that's the beauty of being feminine. We ask, we get to receive. So ask. Get comfortable with asking. Try it in little things. Seriously. Stop trying to do it all yourself. When you're at the grocery store and they say, would you like some help without the car? Sure. When you're walking up to the door and there's a man almost next to you, stop trying to outwalk him. Slow down. Be just enough paces behind to see, is he going to hold the door? You know, some men are rude, but I can't really think in my mind when that's ever happened, when a man has not. I have been walking into places and a man is coming out and he will stand back and hold the door for me to walk into the place. And this is all kinds of men, any race, any age. It's just, I don't know. And whatever it is, the energy that I'm giving off, that feminine energy, they show up like, that's how they show up for me. And I know that that's how they'll show up for you. It's just who you're being. That's it. Because you can either repel or attract anything to you. And in fact, you're always either repelling or attracting anything to you. And so what I really want you to understand is that in order for you to start attracting what it is that you desire, what you want, you got to start asking. You got to start getting comfortable operating and being in your feminine energy. We shift in and out of masculine and feminine all the time, right? It's not like you're never doing, because you need that masculine energy to get things done, right? And men have a feminine side too. We all have both. We go back and forth. But when you as a woman learn to flow between both efficiently and to predominantly stay in the one that you are, you will fare far better. So there is a power of asking. And when I asked for help and support, my coach showed up. And when I was like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for her, the money showed up. And the conduit was my husband, my amazing, incredible, loving, and supportive husband that I trust, who is the leader of our family, who I'm happy to follow, because he's not domineering. He's loving. We're really partners. It's really a partnership. Okay. But, you know, he showed up for me and provided the means for me to be able to work with that coach. When I got clear on the type of woman that I wanted to work with, how many clients I wanted to take onto my roster, I prayed for that. I asked for it. That's that's what has unfolded. And it's not done because it's always ongoing, right? And so I'm just sharing that with you, my personal experience, so that you understand that when you get comfortable with asking, you're going to receive. But if you never ask, don't expect anything from anyone. Because even from human beings, it's not that they don't care, it's not that they don't love you, it's that they have their own thoughts, feelings, and mind, and they're busy being in their own little world. And it's not that they wouldn't help you, but it's that you haven't alerted them that there's a problem. You haven't asked for any help. You just assume that they wouldn't give it to you, or you have talked yourself out of it because you don't want to feel like a burden, or you don't want to feel needy. You don't want to feel weak. You don't want to feel like you're being judged as if I can't handle it myself. So you got to let all that go, because that's not going to take you nowhere where you're going to be happy and successful. Okay. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please share your comments below this video. And if you enjoyed anything that I said in this video, if anything landed, if anything resonated, you're like, why are you talking to me? People tell me all the time, why are you talking to me, Jamila? Or that really hit home. Send me a message. Let's have a conversation about it. Okay. And I will see you next time. All right. Take care.